graduated from
Stanford.
Stanford. In what field? What do you?
Philosophy and religious studies.
Philosophy and religious studies. That should net you a lot. What do you plan to do with that?
Well, I think going to graduate school probably.
Yeah, why not? Become a professional student. And what are you studying?
Latin American literature.
No, but you have a poster like thinking is hard, give it to somebody else. Well, I feel like if you have an attitude that just studying and teaching is something that's secondary or whatever. I mean, I feel
no,
like
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that what you're studying and what you're teaching. I mean, I do not, in any sense of the word, try to tell people not to think. I mean, my God, that's what I'm doing out here is getting people to think. So, or to study. But I'm saying if you're going to spend a lot of money on learning something and doing something, I say you pick something that's going to, I don't know, engineer, build something. I mean, something that's got tangent.
But that is a contradiction. You say studying, thinking, reflecting, thinking about the real issues.
But you can also think into, let's say if you're an architect, you can put your philosophy into the architecture also, to the beauty of it. The philosophy of the architecture they have today is brutal. It's just blocks. So it strips away a lot of the, artistic value. I mean, look at the architecture from 100, 200,000 years ago. Ornate, beautiful. Today it's just what? Brick and mortar and glass? It's so devoid of anything that we even call beauty.
Yeah, well, okay.
So, that stripping away of our aesthetic values, of our, ability to expand and create, and just reducing it down to the lowest common denominator, which the social engineers have orchestrated.
Yeah, but what you said about like reducing everything to lowest common denominator, or whatever is just simply profitable. Don't think about like the beauty of it, anything. Just, that's something that an engineer it's not part of engineer's job to reflect on these things. Really.
Why not? I know there's engineers that can be both at the same time, functional and aesthetic. They can both be the same. You can blend the two.
They seem to be always opposed to the arts, religion.
I don't think they're opposed to anything. And where would we be without engineers? I mean, what are we supposed to do? You think any of the shit we have right now would exist without engineers?
No, definitely no.
Okay, so they have a function.
But if the world just focuses so much on this, like, we might lose an important part of our humanity.
Okay, well, switching gears, being that you guys are liberals, can you tell me why liberals are treating women so badly? The hypocrisy? Huh?
What do you mean with that?
Well, I mean that just recently in the news. Let's look at some of the recent news. Of course, you got left-wing heroes who treat the women like garbage, Weinstein, the liberals knew about Weinstein for a long time.
No, but come on.
And then you've got Schneiderman recently, that guy, woman champion, put his women in dog collars and said, call me master. Then you got, they go ahead and chase, William Huckabee and her family out of a restaurant. Yeah. And then when she left, they chased her family across the street and continued hassling them. So not much respect there, would you say? And then we got, how protesters went ahead and hounded, this woman, at a theater for Mr. Rogers, of all things, about civility, and got in her face and actually spit on her. So, that didn't seem to me like it's too... then we've got, and then we've also got the... and then we got the fact that Secretary Nielsen, who was heckled at a restaurant, and then, of course, they go to their home and threaten their children. So, it's not just the women, so the liberals are also going after the children, too, right?
Yeah, but come on, obviously you understand humans are humans. Everybody, no matter what your political beliefs...
Oh, is that an excuse to be uncivil, then? Is that an excuse?
That's across political spectrum. You look at Trump, come on, you're not going to find an exemplar for, treating women right and being respectful. It's across the board.
Show me where you've got this equivalent, where you got right-wingers heckling left-wing people.
I feel
There's a women's festival on down there right now. Do you see any right-wingers down there?
Liberal there either.
Yeah, okay, but show me where recently you can bring up anything where women are treated badly.
Come on, like.
No, I'm coming on. I'm asking you to give me, and all I'm getting. Oh, come on. Come on. Let's be reasonable. I'm going to be reasonable here.
Yeah, no, but
I'm asking why you hypocrites treat women so badly.
But you say hypocrite. I mean, that would be if someone would say, yes, for anybody who's a liberal or who votes Democrat, like, you're not going to find any moral faults. You're not going to find, any person who does anything that's morally reprehensible. Obviously, I don't know who would claim that. Like, human is a human. It's not like your whole identity is just.
Yeah, but it's the liberals that claim the moral high ground. They're the ones that go out there and say, they picked up that woman flag. They're the ones that champion the women's flag. And just recently there was the Me Too movement, the women Me Too gathering.
Yeah.
And Millie Weaver from InfoWars went in there and says, excuse me, but how come you guys excluded all the women that was accused by that Bill Clinton raped? That said rape. Why didn't you include them in the Me Too movement? How come the liberals completely excused Bill Clinton, but then, he said pussy in a locker room 14 years ago. At the same time, her husband's gone around, and his tactic is to bite into their lip to keep them there until it bleeds.
Well, Trump also paid off. But I don't
excuse me?
What's the point? I understand what's the point of but what about this?
For
but
rape?
What about he?
For rape?
No, for with Stormy Daniels.
Daniels.
That's clear.
Is that the best you got?
No, but if you say
really, is that the best you got? Really?
I know. Obviously,
a consensual, not a rape, a consensual.
No, but he paid it off. So if that's what we're talking about.
So it was consensual, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then he denied.
We're talking about rapes that the liberals ignored on that side.
I feel like this is.
We're talking about the reader laptop and all the disgusting crap that came out of there. We're talking, we can go on here with the liberal hypocrisy, man.
But what's the point? I understand why I feel like it's better to admit regardless of what any person's political beliefs are, to say, that person acted, immorally. We condone, we do not condone that.
Then why aren't the liberals saying that?
Specifically,
when Bill Clinton when the women accused Bill Clinton of rape, where were the liberals? Where were they?
Yeah,
silent as lamb, buddy.
I agree.
Silent as lamb. So don't give me this bullshit. We're talking about liberal hypocrisy here.
Yeah.
We're talking about consensual sex with this guy that, consensual sex. Bad guy, consensual sex. And we're talking about rapes coming from the Clintons, but it was mum. It was all put to this wayside, and then they pick up the mantle. We're for women. And then when it comes along, Harvey Weinstein, yeah.
Yeah, but
baby, go ahead. You want this?
Yeah.
And where were the liberals then? They're still. How about Polanski? Yeah, how about the 13-year-old raper there?
I don't know if he's a liberal, really.
Are you kidding me?
He's been.
Get the hell out of my goddamn life. He's from Hollywood, isn't he? They gave him a standing ovation.
But he's not been in.
Oh yeah, but they gave him a standing ovation. They didn't condemn him for raping a 13-year-old, did they? So where's the liberal moral high ground there?
Honestly, I don't know anybody who defends Harvey Weinstein. There's nobody that I know who would say, no, that was...
Oh, not anymore, because all of a sudden they got caught. But for how many years was it an open secret, because they were making jokes about it, on award ceremonies about Harvey Weinstein's, abuse of women.
To really with political,
only for the fact that he was a big donor, and he was visiting the White House, and he was so don't give me that crap.
That's a separate issue, I feel like.
What's separate issue? It is not a separate issue.
Let me explain.
Again, it comes to the liberals picking up the mantle of the women, saying we're the women's champion, and at the same time doing nothing but spitting on them and treating them like trash, and then saying, But you said grab pussy, you hypocrites.
We need to, I think, really in the political situation that we're currently in, I think unless we learn to listen to each other and like let each
Well, I'm trying to go ahead and I'm listening. Explain why the liberals were silent over the Bill Clinton rapes. I'm listening.
Well, okay. I mean, with accusations, I mean, I don't know who you're talking specifically, but again, I mean, many people are accused. If they're proven that they're guilty, I feel like it shouldn't matter if you're a conservative, if you're a liberal. I mean, it's
you obviously have never looked into the women that have accused Bill Clinton of raping them. You've never looked into them. You've never listened to them.
Yeah, but
they were at they even showed up at one of the debates. I mean, they were on national TV. If you listen to the stories, how this man, they'd walk into the motel room and he'd be standing there naked, and he'd rape them. But I talked to a woman here who is working for a doctor in Arkansas that says his wife was raped by Bill Clinton in the next room while 2 state troopers held him back from rescuing her.
Yeah, but I understand what's the point of looking, what about this? I understand, wouldn't it be better to look at really, regardless of which political side of the spectrum person is, to look at it, if they did something that is really morally reprehensible or unlawful.
I call rape morally reprehensible.
Exactly. Have investigation and then really, but
why haven't they? They would have if they hadn't covered it up. I mean, we've had a stupid investigation on this guy for crap that was made up out of whole cloth. I mean, the hearings that are going on right.
I mean, it's not conclusive, but I feel like again you get into a contradiction.
No, I'm not. This is without a doubt. It is without a doubt that this woman paid for the dossier. Now, I'm going to give you something here. This whole thing about the leaks that came out to begin with came from where? WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks, yeah.
Why haven't they called Julian Assange? If that's the one man that can say where everything is, why haven't they called him to testify?
Well, because he's wanted on a arrest warrant for a rape. That's why.
No, they dropped that. They dropped that.
No, if he leaves the Ecuador embassy,
they could grant him immunity to go ahead.
Well,
and
if somebody would probably grant him immunity,
they could even go there and visit him. But why would the one guy that has the answer to who did it?
Yeah, because if he had immunity,
well, that's where it all came from. He's already said it was the Russians. He's on record saying it was a Russian. He's saying, I'll testify to it.
But again,
so why hasn't Mueller asked him? If a year and a half, we're still doing. What have they got?
But again, don't you think there's a problem if all you base your beliefs are just you picking and choosing which ones, which people you like, and then just going with what they said? I mean, anybody obviously can say anything or lie.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. This came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but
we're looking at Peter Strzok. Yeah, Peter Strzok, right? You know who he is?
No.
Jesus Christ, no wonder you're so ignorant. Peter Strzok was the FBI agent that was both in charge of the Clinton investigation. He's the head of everything that was Clinton. He's the one that wrote, him and his lover, thousands of emails. You remember the guy's cheating on his wife with another FBI agent, right? Thousands, say 50,000 damn text messages. Wonder where he got any work done. In there it says, we have to stop him. He will never become president. We will do whatever we can. I mean, we're talking about weaponizing, the Obama administration weaponizing the Department of Justice to exonerate her from the crimes that we know she committed and blame him for crimes we have no proof he committed.
Yeah, but what problem you have with investigation, with Mueller's investigation, in which, if it really ends up that there is no...
It's been going on for a year and a half. Where's the proof? It's tearing the country apart. Bring something out. With all the leaks that they have, why haven't we had any leaks of, look at what came out about this?
Well, if it's
we haven't had crap.
Well, if it's a well-run investigation, you would make...
It has not been a well-run investigation because the Congress for over a year now have been asking for documentation of all the documentation with the text messages between Strzok and Comey and all of them, because it looks like with everything we've seen up to date, they colluded to hide our crimes and frame him.
Yeah.
Now, Congress, which has oversight of the FBI, has been asking for the documents, and the FBI hasn't been giving them. They've been stonewalling and stonewalling and stonewalling. What do they got to hide? Why won't they just release the documents? Now they have till Wednesday to come up with the documents, or Rosenstein's going to be impeached. So, it's gotten that bad. So what do you hide? Why won't they just, Trump's been as transparent as it can be. So he's going, come on, just, let's be transparent here. We pay there, and it's not national security, obviously. Mm-hmm. But we are talking about the weaponizing of the Department of Justice. This makes Watergate look like a walk in the park. You've got the top people in the Department of Justice using their enormous power to frame an innocent man and exonerate a guilty one.
Yeah, but don't you think it's a really massive, I don't know if you really believe...
Are you going to give me this broken record? The investigation's still going on, and we got to wait. Is this broken record going to keep on going? I got to wait till everything comes out. We waited a year and a half.
No, but if you really believe that the Department of Justice is completely, independent of just, whichever party is in...
Try to spit it out here, okay? Be articulate, okay?
Well, I'm trying to say...
Yeah, I know you're trying. You're doing a horrible job. Go ahead.
Well, you don't let me explain, and I don't think you're listening. If you really don't believe in the independence kind of Department of Justice, I feel like, I believe in the independence of it, but I'm wondering, has that independence drawn it to be where it's its own separate deep state? In other words, why won't they just come out and say, this is everything. This is what we said. This is what it is. But come on, if an investigation is ongoing...
It's not an investigation. It's an investigation on them. The information that's already come out showing that there was collusion. So we're asking for more.
Collusion between who?
Jesus Christ, am I talking to a brick here? I just told you the top people in the Department of Justice, in the emails, all of them. We have the top 6 people in the FBI have already gone. They've resigned. They've gotten fired. So the top
fire them.
No. McCabe was led up by his own people, by Congress, by the own people fired him. The FBI fired him. Don't give me that bullshit. Trump he's been holding back. He hasn't fired anybody for rights. He should fire Sessions, Rosenstein.
Homie, he didn't fire?
Yes, deservingly so. He's got the right to fire him, and the absolute, he should have. The man's horrible. What came out in the emails showing the bias against Trump. Yes. If I had somebody working for me colluding against me, I'd fire them too.
But colluding based on what? Like what evidence?
You're obviously... Jesus Christ, you obviously don't know anything. Look at the evidence. Jesus Christ.
You really I feel like completely no trust in the fundamental institutions of your country.
I don't know when they go ahead, because every institution has to be, vigilantly scrutinized at all times.
Yeah.
And we haven't done that in a long time. And every time look, we have, 17 intelligence agencies? How do we even call ourselves a free country with 17 intelligence agencies, most of them with black budgets, where we don't even know where the money goes? Christ, you give that people that kind of power, and hell comes behind it. None of it ever turns out good. We got the NSA spying on us all the time now. When are they spying on us? Why? So our government has grown too big, and it is not being held accountable. And so, when you have people that are in the FBI right now, with Rosenstein in front of the Congress the other day, just going with a smug-looking smile, going, I'm not telling you that. Screw you! Screw you! We pay your salary. You tell me you're goddamn not telling us that we have to know if you're spying on us. Yeah, we have to know if you're lying on us. We have to know if you're colluding against the President of the United States.
If you would ask, obviously they would deny it. I don't think.
Then why don't we see the evidence? If they're going to deny it, obviously the crook's going to deny it. Of course they're going to deny it. That's why they're not letting loose of the evidence. That's why we're the request. Can we see the process? Can we see your text messages? Can we see the communications?
Isn't that? I mean, if for any person that you just choose, show me the text messages of that person. If you're not showing, then you're colluding.
What's already come out? Listen to me. What's already come out is condemning. Absolutely condemning. Please do your own investigation on this. Look up. Well, all you have to do is look up a few news articles.
For any society, I think you really, unless then it's really a civil war situation. If you completely have no trust in
we're going to have a civil war. There will be a civil war. I guarantee you it's going to be coming.
If you don't believe or don't have trust in fundamental institutions.
Look, man, here, Mr. Book Guy, read this. I just finished that book. Try to learn something that maybe actually will give you some knowledge. Read something like this. Peter Dale Scott, he taught at Berkeley, right? Read something like this. Get to know who's really running things, because this whole thing about, the Democrats and the Republicans is just it's storefront bullshit. It's what they put up in front of us to make us think, they give us the illusion we have some power.
Yeah.
And it's crap. They make up that. I asked there was a guy out here 3 months ago, worked in for the Attorney General's office, and they asked him about the investigation. I said, "Where's the what's going to happen to these people? Are we ever going to see an accountability?" He said, "No." I said, "Why not?" Because we do not indict them anymore. We embarrass them. Once you get to a certain level in government, you're above the law. And I said, and this came from a guy that was 25 years in the Attorney General's office. I run into people like that out here all the time. FBI agents, everybody else had it up to here because of the corruption in this system. Anytime we were talking about an FBI that was started by whom? A gay authoritarian crossdresser. This is who started the FBI, who kept secret files on people and blackmailed them. That's who started. You think it got any better? No. And 152 questionable shootings by the FBI, all 152 have been exonerated by internal investigations by the FBI. Oh, gee whiz. Including ones where they were in a room, 5 of them with one guy unarmed and they killed him. Including one where we got on camera where they gunned him down when he was unarmed with his hands up. Yeah. Oh yeah, justified.
So you say the Democrats and Republicans, that's just the screen that they put against us. So what do you think is the real issue? Again, if it's liberals, conservatives, Democrats, Republicans, that's just a smoke screen.
They do, to keep us fighting, so they put labels on us, so we label ourselves.
Yeah.
So then we can go, oh, you're this and you're that, and it's divide and conquer. It's the oldest trick in the book. So, it's like, it's always divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Right? Keep them fighting. Oh, right? Then they keep on stealing from us, because that's how they do it. This stuff never changes.
Yeah.
The powers that be know that. So the real people that rule things are the money changers, the bankers. And they own the corporations. The corporations own the news. And they own the entertainment. And they own the sports. So they project this ideology. And they own the schools. Because all the schools, especially universities, couldn't exist without federal funding. Mm-hmm. So when you inject that kind of money, along with it comes the ideology. See, you wind up, after a couple of generations, training people, indoctrinate them to depend on the government instead of depending on ourselves and each other. So they wash away that independence, and they make big government as the savior. Oh, we're going to come in with our programs. We're going to save you. Bullshit. What they're getting ready to do is kill us all. The brown man, the yellow man, the white man, they're getting ready to kill us all. Why? Because of this. With artificial intelligence and AI technology. And I talked to a Princeton professor in economics about this. And I asked him, with this coming in, what's going to happen to these people in the next 10 years? And he said, well, about 50% of these people will be out of work. I go, and what are we going to do with them? What are we going to do with all these people out of work? He goes, and he looked me cold in the eye and said, in the past, we've killed you. Now, if they make people dependent on government, right? Oh, government for everything. Oh, universal health care. Oh, universal income. Oh, government could have saved me, right? All of a sudden, when it all collapses, they got the FEMA camps, and they go, we'll take care of you. Come on to the FEMA. But before you step in, roll up your sleeve. You're going to get this little shot. It'll be like the Roach Motel. You'll check in, but you'll never check out. They don't need us anymore. Henry Kissinger called us the future useless food eaters. So the idea now is to get rid of us, put us in factions where we fight one another. The whole program is nationalism against globalism. Globalism wasn't even in the lexicon 10 years ago. Now it's in the lexicon. Why? Because it's been discovered. The powers that be that are here, that you find out in this book, started out with Cecil Rhodes and his idea of a cabal of rich people, elites from Europe and America, forming a worldwide economic net to enslave the people.
Yeah, you know what? With some aspects of what of the analysis that you've just said, I really agree. I think there's really some truth to what you're saying. The problem that I feel like is what Trump is doing with tax cuts for the rich, for example.
No, a tax cut across the boards. I'm talking to people.
I don't feel like it makes the problem better.
You see that I'm talking real life here, because I'm talking to people on the street, businessmen that are expanding their businesses, working class people are saying they get more money in their paycheck. I'm talking to them out here on the street every day, saying because of this man, I've got more money in my pocket.
Yeah, but
and because of this man, my job is expanding because I got a raise, I got a promotion. Every single day, I'm hearing that out here.
Well,
the GDP's up to 4.5. Jesus Christ.
But GDP,
that really depends on specific cases. Because for me, for example, with Obama and Medicaid, like my mom, we never had insurance until him, and then we were able to, and because of him. So it
benefits a few at the cost of the many. Because I understand it. There's going to be better programs come out. Believe me, they're coming in the way. But again, if you one of the main pillars of being able to control the people is to control their health. You control their health, you got them by
But so balls. You'd rather not give them health insurance and
didn't say that. There's health care programs, but competition breeds it. Anytime you centralize anything, it becomes monopolized, and then you can charge anything you want.
But you just said, again, that the real problem is like the rich elites, who, like the financial network from Europe and America, who's really, controlling the news, like who really indoctrinating us and really just, want us to fight with each other. I mean, how is it if big insurance companies be it, or big technology companies, if you just, allow them to do basic things like, for example, education or healthcare, if you just give it to them and allow them to operate in such a way to...
Then you have competition. If you have competition among the companies, different companies out there, it lowers the price because you got to beat your other guy out.
Yeah.
I mean, you go, I got a better deal. Well, no, I got a better deal. So it drives the prices down because you're trying to give the people a better deal.
Yeah, but is that what you're saying with Trump? That like with big companies,
yes.
Like, for example, technology companies, that he's breaking them up into smaller companies that are really competing, and in which, like some of the things that you're saying, like the risks of one powerful institution controlling us is somehow diminished. It seems, that's not what's happening. If you just give them tax cuts, whatever, it benefits the powerful companies that are already kind of ruling the market.
Yeah, which we have, and indeed, even some of them, you understand, there's the elites and then there's super elites. The super elites are the ones that will never change. Those are the ones that are hardcore horrible. I mean, they're Satanist, Luciferian, they want us all dead because they don't need us anymore. They think that they can form their own Elysium kind of a world. Look up Agenda 21 if you've never heard of Agenda 21. It's all about, it's a UN agenda program that filters down to our local politics. And basically, it's having the UN rule us into making everything sustainable. In other words, we got to watch what we do, and they're going to corral us into city-states and return everything else back to nature. So the elites will be able to get to enjoy all that nature while we're boxed into little, 220-foot cubicles where they control the thermostat. And of course, if they don't like what we're doing, if we should, because it's all going to be about an electrical grid now that they're going to put in, because everything's going to electronics, you know that. So, I mean, look what China's doing now. They have citizen credits. So they can tell when you're walking across, if you jaywalk, demerit, to the point where, you go to fly somewhere, you got a parking ticket here that was taken off, and so it comes straight out of your bank account. You can't even arbitrate, so they keep you poor.
Yeah.
So that's what the elites are shooting for. The idea of individuality, the freedom to still be free. I'm old enough to remember when we still had some semblance of freedom here, where we weren't tracked by our cell phones and facial recognition and every damn thing we do that's, they can find. I mean, we still had some freedom. That's been erased. But it's going to get to the point now where we're just going to become electronic slaves.
Yeah.
That we're going to need that damn iPad in order to survive. And we're going to have to depend on the fact that we got to watch our credits don't get below something so all of a sudden you're banned from the internet. Which is happening a lot of times right now with, you cannot deny this, Silicon Valley is all liberal. And they have been, and it has been proven, banning conservative sites. I've been banned.
I think the things that you said about economic inequality, about the danger of technology companies, of really having centralization of power, I totally agree with that. They're maybe really the biggest dangers that there are, and I think it's very legitimate, fear and anger towards those things. I just think if your position is to have smaller government, less government control, leave it to private businesses, which ultimately end up being the big companies. It's not the. I mean, if you
build a better product and you give people a better deal, and you become successful, what's wrong with that?
But obviously, the companies that are already big, they have so much more resources to make a better.
That's why
product.
I think Google should be broken up and Amazon should be broken up.
But is that what Trump has been saying?
Yes.
He hasn't talked about breaking them up at all.
Oh, yes, he has.
What it's been more about is less regulation,
you understand the guy.
more tax cuts.
You understand the guy is basically still just at the beginning of his presidency.
Yeah.
And the other day, the Institute, one of the studies that came out said he's already completed 64% of what he said his agenda was going, he was going to implement. So, which is extraordinary considering what he's had against him. I mean, he had his own party against him. Still does. All the rhinos, because we're talking about the deep state, the entrenched, corrupt deep state.
But who breaks up big companies? Is it not big state? I mean, who else?
No,
is big companies breaking up other big companies?
No, the courts do that. We've done it in the
past. The state.
Where we've broken up Standard Oil, we've broken up other
that is state. I mean, courts aren't some kind of independent thing apart from state. I mean, that is one institution.
I'm not saying abolish the state altogether. There are things that the state does to protect, again, the individuals. Now we're at a point where the state protects the corporations.
But corporations, that's the thing. I mean, in this country, they're deemed also individuals.
Which is a big mistake. I grant that. That's what I'm saying.
That wasn't a liberal, push for that.
Again, we're talking about the blurring of the lines between the liberal and with the fact that the globalists, let's call them the globalists, may speak from one side or the other, but they're still globalists. They're really all going towards that globalist world economy, which takes us far away from the picture. Look at the TPP, for an example. right? What was that going to do? It was written by the corporations for the corporations. I spoke to a couple of women out here today that were involved with the World Trade Organization and the World Commerce Department. And I asked them, well, who's this benefiting? Oh, corporations can now buy this, that, and the other. And I said, well, what about me, the little guy? If I have a shop, can I get in that deal? Well, no, because it isn't about us then. It's really taking us further away from being able to compete in this market and put it in the hands of the already huge corporations. So you want to make them bigger, give them more power, where, again, we become further. Then we wind up with a world government run by corporate heads that we never elect.
Yeah, it's an enormous problem.
So, that's what we're fighting right now. But is the nationalist, which Trump was representing. Can you remember this is going on for a long time? You read this book, it goes back to the 1800s, where they started forming this, which we're at the head of now. And we have a big decision to make which way we want to go and where we want to support. Do we want to go back, have our national identity and individuality back, where we have some voice in how we're governed? Or are we going to give it up to the world government? Are we going to allow this UN Agenda 21 to form, and the World Trade Organization and the TPP and these, free trade bullshit, organizations to come together for the benefit of the corporations and not us? Oh yeah, you get it cheaper. At what cost? The slave labor that they pay to the Latinos and the Chinese, so we can buy things cheaper. So it lowers again the bottom, the common denominator.
Yeah, but again, who regulates all of this? If it's not big government, I understand. I feel like yes, with big government in any situations there are risks. But again, if you're put up against leaving it really to the corporations, not interfering, having them really dictate, or is it again? It's imperfect. Politics is imperfect, but at least with government we have some kind of election.
Again, I'm not saying eliminate government. I'm saying let's get back to what our founding fathers in the Constitution said this is what it should be. It's all been misinterpreted and all misconstrued and ignored and put to the wayside, because this is nothing new. This has happened throughout history. And then when they become successful, they start handing off what made them strong. Oh, here, take my gun. You protect me. I'm going to go have some fun. So they start giving up their essential liberties to the centralized power of the state. It's happened over and over again. And anytime you do that, and there's no accountability to the state becomes corrupt. That's where we are.
There's some accountability, obviously, with elections. Like if you're
well, that's why he got in. Again, look what was against him. He had his own party against him. He had all the media against him. He had Hollywood against him. He had Silicon Valley against him. He had the Pope against him. Then we're finding out he had the Department of Justice against him, and he still won. Why? Because of what you just brought up. We have the vote. We went, no more. Screw that. We're not listening to your lies. We're going to go ahead and put this man in because he's not a politician. And if I had a nickel for every time I heard this, the man says what I think, I'd be as rich as him. I had people coming out of the woodwork here, never voted before in their life, 55 years old. This is the first time in my life I'm going to vote because I'm finally seeing someone that I can vote for because he's speaking my language. So he was speaking to the working man, and where did he go? Where does he go now? Where's his rallies? He goes to Wisconsin and Michigan. He goes to the Rust Belt, and he speaks to the working guy. I've spoken to at least 17, maybe 18, well now, with the two people yesterday, 19 people that have been in a room with that man and have worked with him or had some kind of interaction with him. Every single encounter I've heard that people have had with that man has been positive.
Yeah.
This is how the guy is. He loves hard hats. He loves working people. He really cares.
Yeah, but he himself is a multi-millionaire.
Yes.
And I think...
What is this, class warfare?
No. But I just don't think anything that he's doing is really... It's very nice for some people, yeah, if you're given...
Anything he's doing, we got to... What are you talking about, job? We got for the first time in history, we got more people, we got more jobs and we got people looking for them. That's the first time in history it's ever happened. Food stamps are way down because people are getting more jobs. We got a GDP that's going to 4.5. The best Obama ever did was 2.8. We got steel. There's steel in Michigan, and Detroit's coming back, and Michigan's coming back like gangbusters. They're opening up. They're expanding. This hasn't happened in years, 30 years. And I'm talking to people out here from those places that are telling me this. I gotta believe them.
Yeah. But
I mean, I can't figure why would they lie to me.
No, but I feel like some things that I understand. I really think like what government should be doing is really for the good of the little man, of all of us, for society.
Yeah, give him the opportunity to make it. Give him the opportunity to do the best he can. Level the playing field so you got the same opportunity to invent something, put it on the market that the big guy has. Now, if you work for a big company and you invent something, it's theirs.
Yeah, but see, I think what Trump has been doing is a bit of a kind of an illusion of, helping really the little man, but really, I mean, again, how do you bring some of the companies or keep them in these states? By giving them tax cuts, which again benefits mostly the people who own them, who are already the elites, and who just get richer out of it.
Oh my God, so you're bringing in jobs, giving companies tax cuts, and give people jobs to raise their salaries. And that you're thinking that's bad?
No,
I mean, what was it? The Japanese billionaire just said he's investing $150 million in a new factory. That was just the other day. So, we got almost on a daily basis here, we're listening to companies that were chased out of here because remember what they did. They wanted to destroy this company by getting rid of the manufacturing base, get rid of the middle class. That was our strength. So when NAFTA happened, what happened? All of our jobs, headed south. Everything. There's a list. I mean, there's a list here of companies I can show you that goes on for pages of companies that headed south when NAFTA happened. And all these other trade deals happened. So it was about destroying us because in order to form that one world government we're talking about, we're the bacon. They had to take us down. You want to take over, so you take the biggest guy out of the gang down, right? Walk up to the biggest guy and knock him out. Then the rest of the guys follow. We're the big guy. Yeah. So they needed to destroy us in order to form the one world government.
But my worry is really that in a couple of years, we'll realize that really, for a little while, maybe there was a sense that, who really was I don't know, who's put ahead for these, I don't know, maybe 4 years, maybe 8 years, was the working person, the little businesses. But
for 8 years, we listened to Obama say, hope and change. Yeah, we wound up with change, all right, in our pockets.
But what later we'll realize is that ultimately those who benefited most were the owners of these big companies.
Well, what if it isn't? You're bringing up what ifs. I mean, what if it isn't? What if this keeps on going? Because he's just started and it's gotten this point.
If you give a tax cut to rich, obviously
it's not just the rich. I'm talking to school women teachers out here that got benefiting from the tax cut.
Yeah, but
so you're telling me that a school teacher is part of the elite rich?
Oh yeah, but come on, why are there even taxes? Again, is this because there are certain things like, for example, schools, which somebody has to pay for.
That we spend more money on per capita on school, and we're ranked 17th. Well, our school system is failing. Why? Because of the liberal agenda that was put in. I've spoken to teachers out here today that are up to here with the liberal agenda.
What for school teachers is the liberal agenda?
Again, when you take money from the government, along with it comes their dictates.
But if you take money from private company or from private, I don't know, entrepreneurs, it's the same thing.
Again, the same thing. Who's funding the Rockefeller Foundation? It is the Rockefeller Foundation that is the very heart of the enemy.
But
they're the ones that want us dead.
But who will fund in schools? Like, is it just, I don't know. Like how? I just don't understand. Like what? I understand. Like again, like
the same way we did it before we had them.
But who? But say which?
You know, everything's been inflated beyond real cost. I mean, when I was your age, man. My God, you could go to college. You could go to a 4-year college. It cost you $5,000.
Yeah, but that's what like Bernie Sanders was saying. I mean, that's why we should make it that really.
Bernie Sanders. Yeah, well, why don't you go down to Venezuela and show me how well that socialist bullshit works?
But just what you said. I mean, again, having it a priority that college is affordable. Don't have to.
But then we don't. Here's another thing too. Do we really need?
Yeah.
Another lawyer, another philosopher, I mean, why not trade schools? We need people that actually do something. Now we got a bunch of millennials running around want to become instant internet billionaires.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have to work. I can do this on the internet. Look at me at YouTube.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I won't do anything. We got an infrastructure that's falling apart. We need engineers.
You know he's right.
We need people that can build things. We need tradesmen. That's what we need.
But again, like
Go Trump.
Yeah, but who employs them? It's not that people.
Who employs them? I just told you. They're crane operators right now.
Yeah.
Crane operators make these guys over here $150 an hour. Go to class for 2 weeks. You got a $150 an hour job. These guys can't find young people to do it.
Yeah. See, at Stanford, there definitely is not short of engineers. Everyone is going for engineering, but who's employing it? It's precisely because, again, cut back government.
And who says you got to be employed? Why can't you start your own? Why don't you make something your own, engineer, invent something?
Yeah, because what ultimately gets built is the stuff that, again, makes money for the people who are inventing it. You're not going to build just great bridges or really nice buildings or like just public infrastructure that is, like you said, crumbling and it is needed. No, who will employ it is Google, Facebook, like any big company that, could pay more money, and that's where engineers are going. It's not that there's shortage of engineers by any means.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Then why not other trades? I mean, as I said, is there something wrong with making $150 an hour as a greensman with a hard hat? $150 an hour? I mean, that's what they're paying right now. Hell, I wish they were doing that when I got out of school, as you know.
Where's the problem?
But they can't find young people to do it because they're all wanting to become, again, internet millionaires or something.
But that's again the problem. If the main value is just making money, people go to wherever they make more money. If they can do it through, technology, applications or whatever, that's where they're going to. But
I know a lot of people go into the jobs like teaching. You don't go into it for making money. You don't make a lot of money in teaching.
Again, who would pay
a lot of
for
people
it?
go into jobs like becoming a fireman or a policeman. That's not a lot of money.
But see,
they do it because they want to help people.
But who employs them?
Service.
It is their government pays for them. Their salaries paid through taxes. It's not that there's private fireman companies.
Firemen used to be voluntary. We have plenty of voluntary firemen.
But then obviously, how can you expect people to want to go to jobs which they're not being paid for? Unless really we change the structure of society again. It's more government creating jobs, government deciding.
Well, you're a philosopher. You come up with some new creative ways to make money.
No, but again, now we're before you just said the problem is that all the people care about is making money. That's why people go to
we do that. It's not
industries.
As a philosophy, that's not the only thing. We have other things that drive drive us as human beings.
But don't you think that then they should be also rewarded financially? And that's how you make it that really, again.
Oh yeah, I sincerely believe, like, let's say in the Western or Eastern, they treat their teachers, they revere their teachers in the East.
And they're also obviously
a lot better than we do. I think our teachers ought to be treated with a lot more respect and paid a lot more. Yeah, absolutely. That's the basis. But again, they've destroyed all of that, because if you read their documents, if you read what they said, they were going to create an educational system that will give us not thinkers or not, but obedient workers.
Yeah.
They wanted people that were just smart enough to be obedient workers. So that's what they did with the educational system. They dumbed it down.
If the focus is still on STEM, where you don't think, you just apply this one
hired hand.
technical skill. You don't question authority. You don't
and we're all different.
And we're all different. Politics. Yeah. They don't talk about politics. They're just
their education is not about thinking about politics or just like how the structure of society is based. It's just getting a job.
And then you got, let's work on the Peter Pits. We all have our degree of competence, and we rise to that level of competence. Not everybody obviously can be a brain surgeon.
Yeah.
Some guy's skill might be mechanics, could be a whiz at mechanics, but deft at anything else. Fine. Let's go ahead and nurture that. Let's make him, be the best mechanic that he can be.
Yeah.
And be successful and have a successful life at that. The thing is, no matter where you are in your life, you strive to be the best of it. If you're going to be a whore, be the best whore in the house. And that's it. So we don't put up false premises to people, like false goals, where they wind up getting $100,000-$200,000 in debt for school for a degree that's worthless, or they can't even get a job. So this thing hangs over them like this sword, this debt for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And we become debt slaves. Again, that's what these guys wanted, to put us in debt slavery, where we cannot come out and be individuals on our own, strong, and have our government accountable to us and not the other way around.
Yeah.
So, voter reform, we need that. Term limits, we need that. So we can, start holding and like the Founding Fathers said, shrink the government down to where it's, they leave us free to do what, we're going to do, apply the laws. You hurt somebody, you get held accountable. I don't care where you are in this station of our society. And then, let it go. Then let the government make sure the contracts are fulfilled. That's number one. Secure the borders so we have a country that we can, watch. And basically that's about it. Foreign entanglements, out of them.
But again, things like education.
All of that stuff will flourish if we quit wasting money on things like the military-industrial complex, and all this bullshit we're wasting money on. Then we'd have the money to go ahead and put into the educational system where it actually works, because we're already pouring money into it, but we're not getting what we're paying out of it.
But if you look, for example, at Europe, their education in many countries is completely for free. But a lot of it is because, for the very wealthiest, tax rates are higher. It's obvious. If you made your money in society, if your money, how you earn it, dependent on education you got in society.
You're talking socialism again. You're talking about government redistribution of wealth, which
it's not even redistribution. It's really
if you're taxing, in France, they're taxing over 100% now.
Yeah, but it's more. I wouldn't say redistribution. It's not taking from somebody's pocket and giving it to somebody else.
The hell it ain't.
It's more. How can you fund something? Like education. How can you really get that anybody? Yeah, really. It's a really paradox in this country that until Obama, that you had to. It was mandatory to get car insurance, but then again to get health insurance, if you get sick, so what? If you don't have cash, you die. Who funds all of these things unless it comes through government?
Look, when I was growing up as a kid, I can remember the doctor come into my house at 3 in the morning because I had a fever. They used to be in the Hippocratic Oath. You took your oath to be a doctor. 1/3 of your practice was pro bono.
But it's naive.
The hospitals used to do that.
It's naive to think in capitalist societies that you're going to get the most skilled people just doing jobs for free.
No, we had it. We still do. We still do. Dr. Rand Paul, who was an eye doctor, and his father, who was a doctor, regularly go out to Central and South America and perform surgeries for free.
Yeah, but I think it's naive to believe that you're going to get some people really, maybe who truly live, just they don't care about like how much they earn. They don't care if they barely can make an ends meet. But they're going to go be a fireman, be a policeman, be a doctor, work pro bono. Just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I'm not getting rewarded for it. It doesn't mean that socially it doesn't feel like I'm being appreciated. It's completely too naive to believe. I feel like if you value all of these things
we did it before it happened. It worked. I mean, we existed for a long time without the Federal Reserve, for instance. We existed for a long time without. This whole government was one time funded by tariffs alone.
You can't return to the world in which the founding fathers lived.
Why not? It worked. It got us to a point of being the most prosperous country in the world.
But come on, like, what are you going to do? Do away with cars? Do away with internet?
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, you're taking it to an extreme. I'm not saying we go backwards there. I'm saying we go backwards in the size and purpose of the government. When you have the government regulating every little thing we do,
but I feel like
it should just be down to this. And it should be down to this. If you're a company or a person, whatever, if you do anything that harms another person or their property, you are held liable.
But again, things that you just before said, elites, those who are really, putting us against each other. Who holds them accountable? Who regulates their business? It isn't me and you who are going and.
All right, I think we've reached as far as we're going to go on this with this right now. I would ask you to do two things.
Yeah.
Very easy. One, watch the documentary Thrive. Thrive.
Okay.
Can you remember that?
Yeah.
Thrive.
Yeah,
it's quite.
You're familiar with Procter & Gamble?
Yeah.
Probably I think they're the third largest conglomerate in the world.
Yeah.
Foster Gamble, heir to that vast fortune, had an epiphany. And he goes, I am surrounded by insane people. The elites that surround me, that I'm being groomed to be, are insane.
Yeah.
So he broke from it. And he made this documentary called Thrive. I beg you to watch it. The first thing he does there is he exposes government cover-ups for over 100 years. Things like free energy suppression. We have free energy. But they're sort of suppressing it. Why? Because energy is everything. They control us with the energy. Right? But if you want a box you could buy that's this big, that you can put in your car and it runs forever, and you never have to pull into a gas station, what does that do to the powers that be? And that's what we have. That technology exists. And he exposes that and why it's being repressed. And it's for the control. So Thrive, T-H-R-V. What I like about this, because guy was groomed to be an elite. And what he shows how they rule us through compartmentalization, control of the media, how the control of the schools. But what I like about this is not that he just points out what's wrong, how we got to this point. He brings up solutions. He says, look, we got to this place incrementally where they robbed us bit by bit and got us to believe one way when we should believe in another. What we do is we get it back the same way. We undermine them the same way. We could, we do things like grow a garden. Start shopping in thrift stores. Don't use their big banks. Take that power away from them so we can get it back, because that's who controls everything. Well, Thrive. I highly recommend you read that or watch that, and I highly recommend you read this. It's book just came out. It starts with the advent of Cecil Rhodes and his dream of having a European American cabal of elites.
With who, Cicero?
No.
Cecil Rhodes.
Cecil Rhodes.
Okay.
You know, the Rhodes Scholarship. Right. Where his idea of having a group of industrial elites that would be able to enslave the world economically and is getting real close to be fruition. And in here was to bring down the United States. They needed to put it into that cabal. They had to take it over. And of course they did with the advent of the Federal Reserve banks, because once you control the money, you control everything. I mean, Vance and Rothschild said, you give me the ability to coin a nation's money, I care not who makes their laws. And that's where we are. But the good news is this. We got the internet. We got open source information now. So none of this is hidden. We can all now, we're all Einsteins with this search engine. You can look up the phrases and things I've said and go, wow, shit. Wow, and it leads you down another path. And you can start seeing the hidden history and why, how they're truly conning us and ruling us. And it's like a magician's trick. Once you see the trick, know how the magician does it, you can't be fooled again. So then it becomes clear to you.
But I think that requires some, education for people. Most people
educate yourself. We're all self-educated.
No, but that's the thing. If you leave people to their own devices, this is what they do. They just consume from the big companies.
Or you can't.
They don't talk to you. Or they don't talk about politics. And they don't think about it. They just.
That's why I'm out here doing this. I get them to think.
Right.
And also, what you read on internet, I think in some sense with self-education, there is the risk that maybe, how can you tell?
That's why we have what we call discernment. We're each individual people with our own ability. You've been talking to me long enough, and you wouldn't be sticking around here this long if you said, this guy's full of shit. If you could sense that if I was trying to give you bullshit. But you're sensing it, at least I'm being sincere. I might maybe agree with everything I'm saying, but you can feel that I'm being sincere. And I can sense that you're being sincere. You're not being a phony. You're not coming, neither one of you coming off with, the attitude like, I'm a liberal, I know better than you bullshit. You're actually out here, we're actually discussing, trying to formulate where we agree, where we disagree, and how we can come to consensus and, live together peacefully. And that's what we all want to do. We're going to sense it all in intelligence. So we have our own discernment. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. Yeah, they're going to throw misinformation at us. But you have your own innate sensibility to look at it and go, this doesn't smell right. Or, I want to look further into that. And then make up your own mind. Because it always comes down to us individually. What are we going to do? How are we going to react to it? So what are the two things?
Thrive and killing your Uncle Sam.
Killing your Uncle Sam. Do that. Get a perspective. And if you want, then email me. Tell me what your thoughts are on that. After you see the documentary and after you read the book. It's on the back of this get out of jail free card from Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
And go look at some of my other videos and some of the other conversation I've had here with regular people and other people that are in the government. As I spoke to people this week that, yesterday, that work in the administration with Trump. Yesterday, right here. I can't go to Washington, knock on their doors and go, hi, can we have an interview? But when they come up to me out here, they're in my office and I get to speak to them. And then I can find out, ask them hard questions because I'm not lying to them. I ran into a woman out here the other day, so she set up meetings between intelligence agencies. So I got right on her right away. And her husband was a liaison between the cancer institutes and the pharmaceutical companies. I jumped down his throat because I think cancer is a scam. They got cures for cancer. And he's, telling me, oh, we're going to make it manageable, where it's like diabetes. Yeah, so you can drain us of our wealth as we remain sick, when there's cures for them or even preventions for them that are readily available. But there's no money in that.
Yeah.
And because it came down to two schools of health. They could have gone down the holistic way, prevention, right? Or the other way. Yeah, let them get sick. Let's feed them the GMO foods. Yeah, let's give them the stuff that put it in their veins. They need. Then they need another drug for the backlash or the repercussions of that one. So it's all about keeping us sick. It wasn't about making us healthy. It never was. Again, it's all about the fact that they needed slave labor up to this point. They don't need us anymore. Now they're figuring out ways that can mass kill us and having us accept it. March right into that FEMA camp. Oh boy, they're going to take care of me. Yeah, they're going to take care of you, right?
Well, it's been, I think, very illuminating.
I loved it. I thank you for listening and and having this because this is it. We got to do this. Otherwise, it goes to civil war.
Yeah, it's very true.
So we got to do this. Oh, thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure. Happy trails.